I think we're live. Yes, I've got a confirmation we're live everywhere. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. My name is Sean Shapiro. Today is the 20th of June. Boy, it's coming up fast. Like the end of June, beginning of July. The summer's here. It'll be gone. I don't want to think about it. But listen, this is Ask a Traffic Cop, where you get to join me and ask questions about traffic and police and stuff. And we answer them here, right here, where I am. I'm at Traffic Services in downtown Toronto. The weather is today, from what I can gather. I have no windows. I don't know if there's been an update, but it rained a little bit this morning when I was getting to work. Hopefully it's better for you now. In any case, we're glad that you're joining us. This is a great thing, and a thing that I love to do, which is spend time with you. And if you have questions, if you're on Instagram, where we're broadcasting, you can use the Q&A function because it works. I would say it works on TikTok, which is this camera, but it's currently broken, and it's been broken for like a month, and it's driving me bananas because that's the best way for us to communicate with you and ensure that we don't miss questions. That said, I'm going to do my best to take questions out of the chat room, and with the assistance of people who are texting me some of the information helping me out, I hopefully won't miss much. But if you do not get your questions answered here, you can always use the Q&A function in the main page. I do go through those. It's a slower process than being live here, but you know what? We do this. And if you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those apps, they centralize their comments into one nice place for me to respond. So there's a chat. It's not as busy. We're Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube. We're Traffic Services on Twitch. We're anywhere you want to be. So and it's a different view. Here we're a little box. There we're a wide box. Anyway, wherever you want to watch us, we're happy to have you. Ryan Pinn, good morning. And Ryan is a day off, so he's celebrating by watching us or me, or spending it with us as a group. We're a thing. Hey, let's see here. A question coming in about headlight tinted, yellow headlight tinted. So you can have yellow headlights or white headlights. Tinting headlights is a different story. If the bulb with the light being emitted is yellow, that's fine. Tinting the headlight housing is not okay. Although it's not, you might not have a problem, but technically you can't modify, tint, or alter your headlight housing. Is at least the way that I read the law. But the color yellow is permitted, and that's really for the amber or yellow fog lights that were popular in the 70s. I don't think anybody really uses them very much, but it is one of the colors that's permitted under the Highway Traffic Act. Let's talk about Vision Zero enforcement team so I can get it out of the way. Not that I'm just trying to ditch them. They're awesome. But you know what? We got things to do and stuff to talk about, and I want to get them out of the way so they don't get missed. Vision Zero enforcement team. They are a dedicated group of officers, about 20 of them, that spend time in our city. Why? Well, they work for the Toronto Police, but they are more importantly focused on making our roads safer. They do it by issuing tickets, not hugs. I know it's not what everybody wants, but it is what we need to slow people down and have people follow the rules. Now, if no one breaks the law, we don't issue any tickets. What are they looking for? They are looking for people who are choosing to engage in behavior that's known to increase the odds of serious injury and death on our roads. What are those behaviors, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Oh, I just realized I'm off center. Well, I'm glad you asked, and the answer is speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. Those are the offenses that lead to serious injury and death, that are known, proven to lead to serious injury and death. This isn't just us having a way to write tickets because we're trying to meet a quota. There is no quota, by the way. We are just trying to make the roads safer. Now, there's other areas of Vision Zero. There's design, and the city does all that stuff. We don't design roads. We enforce laws. So from our perspective, the education component, well, that's me. And then there is the ticketing component. That's them. And they're doing a great job. And I had a couple people try and pop into the live this morning as a guest. We don't take guests on the show. We are a police channel. And as such, if we don't know you, we don't bring you on camera. It's just one of those things. Trying to center this camera. This camera is not centered. Why are we doing this? Let me see. Do I do it? Anyone who's watching on the computer will see what I'm seeing. If you're watching on the phone, it looks great. Okay, let's get back into where they are. Today, Vision Zero enforcement team are spending time in 22 Division and 55 Division. Those are the divisions they're in. What does that mean to the average person? Not much. They are spending time in the neighborhoods of Etobicoke, West Mall, Queensway, Etobicoke in general, the beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York. Those are neighborhoods within that, or at least that are served by those divisions. And they're doing the work in conjunction conjunction with the officers in that division. They're not the only people issuing tickets. And the fact is, anywhere in the city of Toronto, if you break the law, whether it be criminal or Highway Traffic Act, expect to get pulled over. It's not one of those things. We're not looking the other way. We are actively trying to make sure things are safe. Things on the road. Good morning, Tracy, who's coming in from LinkedIn. Let's see here. Okay, Nigel comes in and says, "Hi, Sean. What is this? You used to have a sticker on your ownership. Since we no longer need stickers on plates, what happens to that?" So let's just back up. Ontario changed the rules recently. We are no longer requiring, or the ministry is no longer requiring you to apply or affix a sticker to your plate. Why? Because they're not issuing them for most vehicles. Now, here's the bonus. You don't have to put a sticker on it because you don't have the sticker. You do have to renew online. It's free and you must do it online. You can Google Renew Ontario stickers. You're going to find your way pretty easily to the website that allows you to do it. Again, it's free, a little bit of information that's required from you to complete the task, and then you get a printed or an emailed receipt. You can also at that point sign up for reminders for your driver's license, your health card, and your license plates. So back to Nigel's question is what happens? Well, you don't have to put a sticker on, but you do have to renew. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's move to, hey, Big Jeff Fresh coming in on Twitch. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you as always. Chasey says, so if radar detectors are illegal, why can I purchase on Amazon for delivery tomorrow? Well, if Amazon is selling them, they are breaking the law and they can be charged under the I believe it's still under the Highway Traffic Act, the charge for that. Yeah, it makes sense. You can't sell them in Ontario. And again, if they do sell them to you, they've broken the law. They shouldn't be selling them. Now, maybe they're selling them through vendors in the States and this is getting through a loophole, but again, shouldn't be happening. You can buy a lot of things that are illegal. Just because you can get your hands on them doesn't make it any less illegal for you to possess. So it's illegal for radar detectors for you to possess, transport, own, sell, buy, like every aspect of radar detectors or anything that prevents police from having the ability of measuring your speed. So jammers are also in the same boat. Okay. We have Tracy. I said hey to Tracy, but I got more information from Stony Creek. I don't think I knew that. In any case, she was jumping on to help Nigel with his question, which we just doubled up and answered twice. Okay, what do we got here? PC Sean Shapiro starting salary. This is a question about employment. Okay, so if you are interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, got good news for you. We are currently hiring. Check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. That is where you'll get all the information and more about becoming a member of the police service, whether it is as a police officer or as a parking enforcement officer. We're hiring all sorts of amazing positions. And if you have interest in joining, well, we'd like to hear from you. There's an episode of TPS Traffic Jam, which is available on basically, YouTube, Twitch, and anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. So it's a video version as well as an audio-only version. Either way, the number 6 episode was with our employment unit. So lots of great information there if you were interested in knowing more about becoming a member of the service. Okay, I'm going to take a quick second to cut and paste into a Word document 9 million messages because it's just impossible otherwise. So the question about starting salary, if you go to that website, www.torontopolice.on.ca, they list all the salaries right there in one great place. But because it changes as contracts update and things change, so I don't know what the current salary is. It goes in 4 stages. So you're a cadet in 4 classes of constable. Okay. What is this question here? Underglow on trucks. Underglow in general doesn't have a specific rule or law that is governing it. You can have underglow as long as it's not projecting light and projecting light in a direction that would then cause a violation of other laws. For instance, we talked earlier about headlights being yellow or white. Well, if you have pink, purple, green, orange, I don't know, any other color under the rainbow, that is visible to the front, well, that's going to be violating and seen as a headlight if it's over 300 lumens in power. There are potential problems. You cannot project red light to the front. You cannot project white light to the rear. There's a bunch of issues. So if your underglow is going to be low to the ground, if the bulbs are not visible, you're not projecting light in other directions other than straight down and it reflecting off the ground, you're probably okay. In a truck, however, it's very high, or in most cases higher than a car, and that might lead to more issues. So I would not use it on the road. We don't want you to use it on the road. It is distracting. And guess what? 1991, 87, I don't know what year it was that those were really popular. Gone. It's finished. Thing of the past. All right, let's have a look at what we got here. Do you need the OACP to join the police service? You do need a valid OACP certificate to become a police officer. Again, details on that website, but you do. You have to be a permanent resident or citizen. Not it's one or the other. You don't have to have both, but it is in terms of what we were just saying, the certificate, you do have to have one. Okay. Taillights, talk about it. What do we want to talk about taillights? Oh, black taillights. You can't black your taillights out. Listen, your taillights and your headlights have a specific requirement as to how far they must be functional. If you are obscuring them, if you're making them less functional, if they don't meet the minimum requirements, you're going to get charged under the Highway Traffic Act, which is that wonderful act that governs things that roll. Okay. My noisy mug. Just going to scroll through here. What do we have here? Gertz says, I've seen bad driving reporting forms online from different police departments. How do you deal with those when they are submitted? Fantastic question. So at the Toronto Police, we have a citizen online report entry, which is CORE. There's actually a landing page if you go to torontopolice.on.ca/core, and on there you can report a whole bunch of things, everything from immediate and urgent parking complaints to neighborhood concerns for general traffic issues happening near you. You can also use it to report a specific vehicle, and if you do that, it actually, regardless of what you do, those forms are then taken and sent to an actual police officer. They're assigned as a case, and then they investigate. Sometimes they result in charges. Sometimes they result in letters to owners. It depends on what evidence we have and what we can do as a follow-up. But there is action taken. They don't just sit in an email address drawer waiting for the end of time. It's a fantastic tool. It helps us build cases. It is really good. If you have issues in your neighborhood, please use it. For anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I do this thing on the internet where I answer your questions about police, traffic, stuff and things. We talk about all sorts of topics as we go along. We do it for an hour a day as long as I'm in the office, and it's fantastic. I enjoy it, and I hope you do too. If you don't already follow us, please do. We're at 567,000 followers? No, we've gone up. Hang on a second. Now I'm really curious. How many followers do we have now? I don't watch it every day all the time, but I do watch it. What does it say? 573.1. That's a whole lot. We jumped a whole bunch over the weekend. So thank you to our new followers. If you're watching us now, welcome to the party. Glad to have you. All right. Is there a bike CC limit for an M1 rider? No, but maybe there should be. Some countries do require you to, or limit you to having only a certain size engine or displacement while you're learning and graduated. We don't have that. You can buy the biggest, baddest bike you'd like when you get licensed. Unfortunately, that very often results in tragedy. People have bikes that they ride and you just hang on versus you really being in control of the machine. Some people believe that you're never really in control. But I would argue that you can ride within your means, but when you twist that wrist and it's way too much power, bad things happen. Okay. So there we go. We covered that. Can I put 5% tint on taillights as long as they're visible for 150 meters? So there's mixed reviews, and it's going to be interpretation of law. How are you going to determine that they're effective at 150 meters? Now, the word that they use in the Highway Traffic Act isn't visible. Because it's not just visible, it has to be able to be distinguishable at the high-low meter. So I would just not tint your taillights. I think that's the best thing. Also, when we investigate collisions involving people who have, people in general, we look at things like taillights. Were they functioning? Were they damaged? Was there obvious issues? Obvious issues like tint would be in our report. That would definitely go against you as the driver. Maybe you were complicit now. Maybe you were part of the issue as to why you were rear-ended. In any case, bad things happen when you tint things, potentially, possibly, sometimes. What is this? Okay. What are the prerequisites of becoming part of the auxiliary? Again, going to the employment page is going to be the best thing. I don't know if things have changed, but there used to be a full G driver's license, at least 18 years old, no criminal record, the obvious stuff. But there isn't a fitness requirement for volunteering as an auxiliary. Mind you, you still have to pass all the training. You don't need any courses in advance, but yeah. I don't know. Somebody says, Sean Shapiro, are you the brother of Ben Shapiro? No, I'm not related to Ben Shapiro that I'm aware of. He's got lots of hair. I don't. He's got a high-pitched voice. I have a low voice. There's the hair difference. We talked about that, height difference. I just don't think we're related. But you know what? Who knows? Who knows? I can't say anything. Let's see here. All right. Are you allowed to install hydraulics or air ride to a car that allows you to adjust your car at any time? So this bag suspension and hydraulics, my understanding is that it's not legal. Now, I don't have the details on it. Obviously, I don't have it on here. We've talked about it a bit, and I keep meaning to have a discussion at great length with mechanics and our folks in the recon and CVSA teams. But I've yet to have that conversation. My understanding is that if it doesn't have that it may conflict with safety, and obviously you can't be driving around up and down, popping your suspension. That would be against the rules. And if the suspension was required on having it inflated in order to keep it off the ground, that would be a safety concern. So I don't think it's safe, but I'll have to investigate more. It continues to live on my list of things to do. However, I tend to not get that one done. My apologies to those who want the answers to that. But speak to a good mechanic before you're doing anything. And it's great to talk to us as a resource. But before you start investing thousands of dollars into your vehicle, speak to a trusted mechanic because that's going to be the person who should know your car well enough to say, yeah, that thing there is legal, and here's why. But we're also happy to do that. You can also come into a station and get your car looked at. Now, the problem with that is you might find yourself getting charged if you're doing something illegal. Okay, we're going to just delete this person here, add to the block list. People trying to sell us things. I don't know why they're trying to sell us things. We don't want to buy followers. Can we FaceTime while driving our truck as our phone will be on the side? So FaceTime, if FaceTime audio you can use, FaceTime video, no, you can't use. You can't be using your phone for anything that requires you can't look at the screen. The only mode you can be on is telephone mode, which is just displays the person you're contacted with, or GPS mode. You can't be going through your email. You can't be on a video call. Those things are prohibited. Okay. If you got a ticket that was reduced, can you still fight it? Well, if you fight a reduced ticket, you're a special kind of person. When you take a reduced ticket, which was a gift to you at the side of the road to try and expedite things in court, then I'm going to ask when you come to court that the court bring it back up to the original amount because it's documented. We tell the court what we measured, and then we said we're reducing it and giving you a lesser offense or a lesser amount that we're charging. It's a discount. And the idea is that it goes through court without costing the taxpayers money. But again, if you take it to court, and I can't speak for every officer, will ask it to be raised to its original amount. And they can do that, and they do that very often. Yeah. But I will tell you this. I pretty much stopped, I'm not on the road right now, but when I was on the road, I stopped reducing tickets. Why? Because people did exactly what was being suggested. They just take it to court anyway, or give it to an agent to do. And it's just a big waste of time. So why bother going through the process? Just here's the full amount. If you want to fight it, go ahead. Now, if you really think you're innocent because you were doing 20 kilometers an hour and they said you were doing 100, well, you have the right to a trial. I'm not suggesting you can't go to court and have your day and state your case. But if you're just playing roulette and trying to win, don't waste the time. Don't waste the government's money because the government's money is the people's money. Okay. Quotas. People want to know about quotas. Do they exist? They do not, at least not here. I can't speak for every agency everywhere in the world, but certainly Toronto Police doesn't have quotas. What do? Well, we have to go and work and actually work. So if we go to work, we hit the road, and we come back 8 or 10 hours later or 12 hours later, and we haven't gone to do any reports, investigations, we just hung out at tinnies, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem because our supervisors, regardless of what job you have, if you don't show that you were getting or doing an honest day's work, that's going to cause a problem. And yeah, writing tickets isn't hard. I'm not going to suggest it's hard. If I go stand outside for 10 minutes, I could probably write a book. Well, time-wise, it would take longer, but I could find enough offenses to write a book. Genuine question, is social media and PR your whole job? No, there's more to it, but it is a significant amount of my job. I work in the Traffic Safety Programs Office, and as part of my duties, social media and media relations, speaking to radio, TV, and doing what we do here on social media is a large component of it. Creating content for training in-house is another. We also do a lot of planning. We have things like Honda Indy. We plan on being at Honda Indy so that we can spend time educating people, meeting people, providing information, educating in person about the various things. And I'll be part of that as well, both the planning stages and the physically being there. So if you're going to be at the Indy, you should expect to see me there. You can come say hello. Kayla Dracona says, greetings and salutations. I missed Friday. College graduation. Okay, you have an excuse for missing the show if it was a college graduation. We'll let you off the hook. More on what else do I do. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I do. I do a lot. Whatever the boss needs, that's what we do, in addition to everything else I said. Okay. Okay, what do we got here? Why are plate covers illegal, but I never get stopped even with them for 4 years? Because we are not, it's something that we do deal with when we see it. Our priority is not plate covers. I'll tell you that for sure, because otherwise everyone would be stopped, because almost everybody has a license plate frame that is illegal. You buy a car from a dealership, they put on their ABC 123 company logo around it with what their brand that they sold you was, and that is instantly illegal because you can't have anything on your plate that has that covers any portion of your plate. So why don't we do it? Because we're focused on the big four. That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. We're trying to keep people safe. So we focus on that stuff. If nothing else is in front of us, you might get pulled over for that. Because they're all valid tickets. But again, our focus is on the stuff that leads to serious injury and death on our roads. What is this? Got a ticket, fighting it in court. What's a reasonable amount of time to wait? Once upon a time, a year would have been reasonable. And beyond that, people would take something called an 11B application and they would submit it, saying that they didn't have their trial in an amount of time. Because of COVID, that's no longer a valid excuse. We're behind the times, and the world has sort of acknowledged that, yeah, we've been in a pandemic and things don't. So I don't know what the appropriate amount of time is. You can always make the argument, and they may or may not accept the argument. Okay. People are upset about Ottawa. I can't help you with that. Driver stopped for improper stopping at a stop sign. Can the officer ID the passenger? So if we stop a motor vehicle that is, for any reason, not we pull them over to investigate, can we ask for identification of a passenger? Well, no, unless the passenger is not wearing their seatbelt or being investigated for something else. So if it's a highway traffic act, simple highway traffic act, we don't see a gun or drugs in the car. We're just talking about they didn't stop for a stop sign. No, I'm not going to ask the passenger for any information unless they weren't wearing their seatbelt, at which point they are obligated to identify themselves or they can be arrested. So that's a thing. You guys also use speed cameras to check speed on highways right in Toronto. No, we do not have speed cameras on the highways. We have speed cameras in school zones in the city. They're not run by the provincial government. They're run by the municipal government, the city of Toronto. We have traffic or speed cameras, and we also have red light cameras. Both of those are run by the city. Okay. Someone has Q&A access? What? Okay, I want to know more, because Q&A, it is not working. Other than lightning Q&A, which keeps asking me, do I believe in true love? What can I say? They broke it, and it's been a month, and it's really annoying. It's messing with my flow. What is this? Can police randomly pull over a person while riding their motorcycle or car without doing anything? I don't know what the rest of the word is because it got cut off. But when can police pull over a motor vehicle? That's, I imagine, what you're asking. The answer is we can pull over any vehicle, regardless of whether or not you've just broken the law, just to check things like the following list. Making sure that the driver is licensed, making sure that the vehicle is insured, making sure that the driver is sober, and making sure that the vehicle is safe for the road. Those are generally, or those are the things you can do without any other reason. But I don't usually have to wait for that because, or I don't have to. I don't usually use that because I'm pulling them over because they're breaking the rules. But I do have the ability of checking. So if I was in the middle of the night and I saw someone who didn't look like they were of age to be driving, yeah, I can pull them over. If I saw anything that suggested that they weren't, sober, it would be a good reason to stop them. But you also look at ride programs. We stop people all the time for ride programs. No other reason. I saw a Toronto motorcycle police officer on the QEW far away from Toronto. Is that your jurisdiction? How are officers dispersed throughout our roadways? That's a good question. We have all sorts of, especially with the motor squad. I'm a former member of the motor squad. We have a lot of details that are special. We are involved with dignitary escorts. We are often doing training outside of Toronto. So that officer could have been on one of a million things that they would require them to exit the city. But we're also police officers everywhere in the province of Ontario. Just because we are outside of the city limits, we still retain police powers and still are expected to be police officers doing policey stuff. But it's a good question. And when we go into other jurisdictions, we radio in and say, hey, we're in your neighborhood, just letting you know we're here. All right. Thank you for answering these questions. You're very welcome, Timothy. My pleasure. That's what we're here for. Do I still need a sticker for my ownership slip? No. Your printed document, your emailed receipt, whatever way that you are maintaining a record of your stuff is good enough for us. But also, we have it updated in the system. When you update your driver's license and ownership, it's all updated live into the system. And I say live, I think it's instantaneous. That's my understanding. Can you drink non-alcoholic beer when you're driving? It's non-alcoholic? Then yes. It's not alcoholic. It's alcoholic beverages that are not permitted. Can you drive with a folding knife on you? Folding knife, you could drive with a folding knife on you. Here's the deal. A folding knife is a utensil, and you can have tools and utensils, and that's not a problem. If it's a weapon and you're declaring it as a weapon, that's a different story. If it's a prohibited weapon because it's a switchblade or it's a push dagger or something that's prohibited under the Criminal Code of Canada, that's a different story. So it really depends. How low is too low for your vehicle? So there's a number of things. If we're lowering your suspension, if you're lowering its suspension, get it done properly. There are maximums. According to our friend Neon, who's a mechanic, he says 1.5 inches from factory. Well, I can tell you that there's a whole bunch of cars out there that aren't 1.5 inches from factory, and I haven't the foggiest idea as to what is factory and what isn't factory. I do, however, know that if I look at a motor vehicle and I ask you to turn the steering wheel from lock to lock, and I'm content that it is truly at lock and there's contact with the body or frame at any point during that transition, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be an unsafe vehicle. And that's usually from people lowering their vehicles or putting the odd-sized tires on. That'll cause a problem. That's an unsafe vehicle. We'll pull your plates and take you off the road. You get towed home. If it's so low that when I compress your suspension, there's body contact or frame contact or body to ground contact, again, unsafe vehicle, go off the road. Question is, can I leave a photocopy of my ownership in my car or motorcycle, or does it need to be the original? Fantastic question. We talk about this on a somewhat regular basis, but it's always good to have these things brought up. The answer is that it can be a photocopy, but it must be a true copy. That's front and back of a valid document. You can't have a single-sided copy. We need the information on both sides, and it should be one that is valid. Now, things are interesting now with the online renewals, so I would also keep a copy of your renewal receipt to make sure that you've got the right details. But yeah, photocopy is perfectly legit, and we actually suggest not leaving your original document in the vehicle because if somebody breaks into your car, takes your original, oddly enough, they could, if it's easy to fake a signature and sell a car that doesn't belong to you. It's not a perfect system. So yeah, that's a thing. I keep mine in my pocket. It's my wallet. I don't want anyone to break into my car and see where I live, so I don't leave mail in my car with my address on it. I don't leave my ownership there. So that's a thing. What do we have here? What up, dog? What up, dog? Who gets to pick up the body shop after a collision? Victim or accused? What are we talking about? Oh, pick the body shop. Oh, body shop, not body up. Okay, who gets to pick the body shop after a collision? It's neither the victim or it's always the owner of the vehicle. That's who gets to choose the body shop. And now, we may not allow you to choose the towing company, but the deal is that if you are involved in a collision and you're transported to the hospital, we're going to have it impounded by a contract tow until you're available to get it. It's not an impound for a period of time. It's just going to be put into the police pound. If you are conscious and breathing and all good to go and you're not under arrest, then you can choose whomever you want. Now, if it's blocking traffic and it's causing an issue for safety, we may direct you to use a contract tow. Contract tows are basically held to a standard. They're reviewed by the police. They're basically contracted. Now, if you when you start talking about who's going to fix your car, that's entirely up to you. Although we would suggest you don't, listen to a tow truck driver who says, "Take it to Bob. He's a great guy," because we see very often that tow truck companies tend to get payouts, cash under the table, commission kickbacks or whatnot from body shops. So you can't necessarily trust. Take it wherever you want to take it. And some people will try and pressure you to take it somewhere for repair. Again, it's entirely up to you. I like taking it to the dealer I bought the car from because that's they can, then it's up to them. There's some good reputable places. Doorknob says, "Hi, Sean. I hope you have a nice day." Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm having a great day so far. Even though it's Monday, there's nothing wrong with Mondays for me. I like Mondays. I like Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I like being at work. I like doing the show, and I like helping people. It's a thing I do. Okay, we talked about that. Any luck on yellow sticker for non-commercial trailers? We did cover it, Welder Mitch. So the deal is it depends on the class of the trailer. So even if it's not a commercial trailer, if over a certain weight, you're going to require it. And then there's a combined weight for the vehicle as well. So there are situations for non-commercial trailers to require the sticker. And that was Sergeant Campbell came in. Actually, if you replay Friday, I think you asked me on Friday, if you replay the Friday video, he comes in and actually answers that for us because that's the first thing. As soon as he walked in and said, "I'm glad you're here." I think it was Friday. Whatever day you asked it, we actually got an answer. Let's see here. Are trucks allowed in the passing lane? It depends. Depends if they have. Now you say trucks is a big category. If you mean semis, 18-wheelers, articulated vehicles, those can be in any lane unless there's a lane sign that says they cannot be there. So it's certain highways like the 401 will actually have signage. If you're looking for it, you'll find it, and it'll designate which lanes they cannot be in. But otherwise, there's no "you must be in this lane" rule. Although there are rules and signs to support this whole slower moving traffic, keep to the right business. Okay. I need thinking music. Do I have thinking music? There's thinking music. We talked about that. Oh, no, we talked about that already. Oh my goodness, we got a whole bunch. I got to scroll through. We've gone so far. Pedestrian walk signals go before green at signal. Any idea of the reasoning? Okay, let's talk about that. So there's an essentially it's advanced crossing for pedestrians. So the pedestrian sign goes green or white for them to allow them to get access into the road sooner, to get them a head start. That's exactly what it's for. It's like an advanced green for a pedestrian. Okay. Do you have to pay for the impound fee when you're incapacitated and you guys tow it without us asking? Yes, you do have to pay for storage. The storage is not free, but it is releasable to you. If you're incapacitated, we can't just leave it at the side of the road. It has to be for the protection of the vehicle, but there are impound fees. Are you a real cop? Yes, I am. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Toronto, Canada. I work at Traffic Services at 9 Hannah Avenue, and that is the centralized traffic unit for the city of Toronto. And I am a real police officer. Have been for over 10 years. I've been a member of the police service for over 20, and I love my job. And if you would like to become a member of the Toronto Police Service, you should check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. And right there, you get all the information about becoming a police officer, auxiliary officer, special constable, parking enforcement officer, so many different jobs. We also have people in IT, we have mechanics, we have tons of jobs. You should apply. I'm so glad that someone asked that because I get to reintroduce myself to renew the room. Okay. Scrolling. Is it illegal to turn left where there are pedestrians crossing? Yeah, so when you're turning, you're responsible for turning in any direction safely. Actually, you're responsible for going forward safely too. The deal is that if there's pedestrians legally in the road, you have to yield to them. They're there legally. You can't drive into them. So you can't turn it anyway. I don't know. We're going down a rabbit hole, but yeah, you must, before initiating your turn, ensure that you have somewhere to go safely. Okay, and this should also allow me to bring up it's a good segue into PXOs. It's something that not every jurisdiction will have, but pedestrian crossovers are different than crosswalks, and they have different rules. If someone is in a PXO, this is a non-intersection related crosswalk with the flashing lights, and it says PXO or pedestrian crossing, those are treated differently than crosswalks. No vehicle can cross into it until all pedestrians are off the road. Now, let's talk about intersections with crosswalks. Those, after they've passed your side of the road, you can continue. If they're coming into your section, you've got to wait. If there's a crossing guard in the intersection, you must wait until all pedestrians are out of the road, including the crossing guard. Things to think about, things that many people don't realize. Let's see here. Can you drive with color changing headlights or fog lights in the daytime? No, you cannot. You cannot project anything other than yellow or white. That's the only two colors you can project to the front. Doesn't matter time of day. Can you have like purple hue lights? No. Purple hue lights, sometimes you see those in some of the really cheap aftermarket halogens or xenons. The aftermarket ones are not legal. Cannot project purple. Simpler in Saskatchewan? Really? What's simpler in Saskatchewan? Okay. I'm going to Saskatchewan. I'm coming for a visit. Can you pass a car if can you pass a car if the line is solid yellow? Yes. Technically, yes, because the line is a suggestion saying it's a bad idea, don't do it, but there's no charge for doing it. But if you choose to do it and then you cause a collision, you're responsible for it. And if there's a sign that says "Do not cross here to crossing," those are signs. TikTok was actually calling me. I can't answer you, TikTok. What a time! Maybe TikTok was calling me to say, "Oh, now my Instagram phone is having a hard time." Oh, no, it came back. Yeah. Someone from TikTok was calling me. It's legit. They're TikTok people. It wasn't just like crank calls from TikTok. Although that would be interesting. I haven't had a scam call claiming to be TikTok. They're all legit. Okay. Excuse me as I cough. Excuse me. R. Peters wants to know who tints their headlights. That's a good question. Okay. It's got some... What is this? Mud flap laws, and how does it apply to vehicles that don't come equipped from factory? So the mud flap laws are really specific to vehicles that are modified. When you start putting bigger tires on, raising your vehicle, at that point you need to protect the cars behind you from debris that's being shot up from your tires. Tires cannot extend beyond your fenders, so that's why fender flares are a thing. And mud flaps, when you start doing this, are also essential. So it really depends on the vehicle and how you have to. More of an issue with Jeeps than it is Jeeps and trucks than it is for regular passenger cars that are lower to the ground. Are straight pipes illegal for noise or pollution? Well, for both. You're required to have a muffler as part of your exhaust system. You're also going to need a resonator. All these things are to reduce noise, but mufflers do more than just noise control. They also control smoke and it's smoke and something else, but primarily it's to muffle sound. You also need to have things in the engine side of it. That's for emissions. But mufflers are primarily noise. So if you don't have them, you get a ticket. You can also be charged for creating too much noise. Two separate charges that can be duplicated, combined, double hit. What's the coolest car that Vision Zero enforcement team has? Well, that's an opinion thing. I don't know. My opinion, I think it's the pickup trucks. We have some cool pickup trucks. We have some cool SUVs. I should say I don't actually get to play in those because I'm in the office, not on the road. But they've got some cool cars. And then they have some cool, what are those new ones? The Chargers? They have some Chargers. So they're all cool. The truth is Vision Zero enforcement team is kind of like the ETF for traffic services along with our motor squad. our special toys folks. So they have all the fun stuff. Okay. We have... What is this? What's your daily donut intake? I'm no carbs, folks. No donuts for me. But I appreciate your concern or the general question if you're creating a Wikipedia page about how many donuts I eat. Does Vision Zero enforcement team respond to calls? No, they are a dedicated enforcement team. They are not dispatched to anything other than enforcement. There are big brain people who have statistics that they analyze to determine what areas that we should be focused on for changing driver behavior through enforcement. So they do get direction as to where they should focus each day, but there's no calls. They don't respond to anything. I imagine if there was a citywide assist call, they're going to go, but they're not doing investigations for collisions, and their focus is to change behavior, and you can't do that if you're doing other things. What is the legal limit for tinted windows? I don't know, but I forgot what that button did. I just had to press it. What's the legal limit for tinted windows? So the window limit tint. The windows left and right of the driver, no more than 30% light blockage. So that means that 70% of the light has to get through. You cannot prevent the police or the public from seeing inside. You cannot obscure the interior of your motor vehicle by color or reflective coating. So if we can't see you as the driver, it's a problem. We're going to charge you. Now, if it's over 30% light blockage, not only are you obscuring the interior of your vehicle, but you're eligible for an unsafe vehicle situation where your plates could be taken and you would not drive home. Because if it's so dark that you can't see inside, you can't see outside either in most cases. And front windshield tint, absolutely unsafe, and you'd lose your plates. The windows to the back of the vehicle, behind the driver, rear passenger, rear window, altogether not required to be transparent at all. You can go full opaque. That's a legit thing. But you must have one clear view. So if your back window is blocked and you have no side mirrors, you're going to get a ticket for that. And the windshield. So nothing on the windshield, but vehicles that are manufactured before 2017 can have up to 3 inches or 75 millimeters of brow, tint strip, sun strip, whatever you want to call it. Can you get in trouble if you keep driving while an emergency vehicle drives by? $495. I think it's 6 demerit points. Yeah, you can get in trouble. There are. That's a pretty big one too, because you're preventing somebody from life saving. Either saving a life or protecting or putting out a fire. It's life saving. You're actually, I can't say enough bad things about the people who choose not to pull over. Now, I will say this: it is not easy to hear a siren. You would expect that it is, but it isn't, especially at speed. It is very hard to hear sirens. That being said, I have followed people for kilometers right behind them and not at speed. And they had absolutely no excuse for not pulling over, and they got charged big time. Okay, what do we say here? Do you speak French? No, I do not speak French. Although I do see, the one word that I came away with, I know a couple of words, but bicyclette was the one that whenever my mom said, what'd you learn in French class today? Bicyclette, yes. What do we got here? Scroll on ahead. There's a whole bunch of stuff now it's old. Let me see here. One question for phone usage while driving. What's the question for phone usage? Phones. So let's talk about phones since someone has brought it up. If you are using your handheld communication device while you were driving or stopped or anywhere but legally parked, you have to be legally parked. In a parking spot, you could get out of the car and actually leave it there and it's legal and won't get a ticket. That's where you can use your phone. If you are pulled over in a no stopping, no parking, no standing zone, those are all illegal to use your phone in. Pulled over on the side of the road of the highway, it's illegal to use your phone there unless your vehicle's disabled. So if your vehicle's broken, that's cool. You're obviously calling for help. And when you're calling for help, if you're calling 911, you can use your cell phone at any time. But we can actually check records to make sure you were calling 911. So don't try and pull one on us. We will find you out. Do officers have CPR first aid certifications? Yes, all police officers, volunteers, parking enforcement officers, court officers were all regularly trained and recertified in first aid. We even have a patch on our uniform that says so. What we got here? Why haven't any government actually done anything about texting and driving? We did. The laws in Ontario are very strict. It's a $615 fine, a 3-day suspension for your first offense, and it goes up from there because you can escalate it. Second time, it's going to be a 7-day suspension, and the fines can be increased. It's very serious here, and your insurance rates will go through the roof. I don't know that firsthand, but that's what I'm told. Oh, it's $1,000 in Western Australia. No kidding. Gravity Podcast says, I love what you're doing. Well, thank you very much. Now I got to check out Gravity Podcast. All right. What do you guys do? Are you, for travel trailer? It's the vehicle that has to be insured. The travel trailer should have insurance too. I would assume, I haven't thought about this in a long time. I would think that your trailer would be covered as a trailer insurance. But you know what? Now I got to ask somebody because Aaron doesn't know. I was going to ask Aaron.
What's that?
Travel trailers, do they need insurance or is it covered under a house policy? I didn't think she'd have the answer, but
I just know that I can ticket them if they have a license plate.
Oh, but they can get parking tickets if they have a license plate. That's good. Do you find the vest heavy and uncomfortable or not too hot? Okay, when I wore a vest on the road, it's not heavy. I got used to it. I've worn one for over 20 years. So I'm very comfortable wearing one. But yeah, it's hot. Like it's a two-tone shirt. You take it off and everything inside is sopping wet, disgusting, and you have to disinfect, and it's gross. Summer in body armor is gross. What are your opinions on summer in body armor, Aaron? Let's take a throw.
Yes, I'm looking for a piece of my body armor. Am I live?
You're live.
Oh, yes. Good morning, everyone. Late morning. The body armor, it's not fun in the summer, especially like heat wave days like last week. You're outside for, 10 minutes and you're already sweating just with the vest on alone.
You got to hydrate. You got to hydrate throughout
Yes.
the day. Never enough water. I used to pack probably 3 liters of water in my motorcycle when I went out for the day as a motor squad officer. And I don't remember ever having to pee.
Yeah, because your body's just absorbing all of the water.
Pouring.
Yeah, you just sweat a lot. But you can get like air sort of like filtering mesh vests to go underneath. Apparently those are helpful. I don't have one, but I know people who do.
I've experimented with different things, and having a barrier or either a ribbed shirt underneath to create space or the mesh ones, I've heard that those are very good.
Yes.
Cool. Any big plans for today?
For me?
You?
Well, just looking on social media, and I have to do my social media report, and we'll just go from there.
Yes.
Gotta check my emails. I wasn't here on Friday, so I'm a little behind on things.
Right on. Very cool. Are you going to stick around for the last 9 minutes, or you got to go?
Yeah, sure. I can stick around. Can I just grab my coffee?
Sure. Coffee up. For anyone who's wondering who you're listening to, that's Erin Urquhart. She is a parking enforcement officer here and media relations officer as well for the parking enforcement unit. You can get her at TPS_Urquhart. You can also... Bike Heart. I can't believe I got that wrong. I've only been saying it for like years. It's TPS_Bike Heart, not Urquhart. And you can also get her at Parking TPS.
That's right.
Yes. What do we got here? Do you talk on bikes yet? Like bicycles? Or are we talking about e-bikes? We can talk about e-bikes. We had a lot of conversation over the weekend about e-bikes in the chat. We had busy weekend for social media on our channel because we had some videos. Some of the videos upset people.
Really? No.
No one's ever triggered by my video. Yes, they are. People are often triggered by my videos. And the deal is, I was talking about going through red lights as police officers. And police officers are required, police, fire, and ambulance are required to activate their full emergency equipment in order to cross a red signal. And they can only cross through once it's safe to do so. So you have to come to a complete stop, ensure it's safe, and then proceed, all with their equipment on. And it seems as though everybody in the world has seen every police car, every time they're out, do this at an intersection and go into a Timmy's. Now, I exaggerate when I say everybody in the world with every police car because I cannot tell you how many comments made that allegation. And in 22 years, I've never seen a police officer go through an intersection just to get to Timmy's or McDonald's or whatever drive-throughs right there. I've just never seen it. I'm sure someone's done it. I'm also sure that someone has gone through an intersection while going to a call hot and then being canceled from a call because that happens. And then you got to sort of de-stress and pull over because you do to get that adrenaline rush when you're going to a code. And I could see them pulling in to calm down and maybe getting a coffee or hit the bathroom or whatever the case may be. But I cannot imagine someone intentionally just going through a red light. Anyway, that video had like 250,000 views and lots of comments and lots of unhappy people. So what was I talking about? Being triggered by my videos? People were triggered. But we did talk about e-bikes a lot. And someone said, you really got to make a video about e-bikes because there's one chap who may be watching right now, and if you are, hello, has an electric tricycle, a big trike. like an adult-sized trike for stability, but it's an e-trike, and wanted to know, can he ride it on the sidewalk? Can he ride it on the road? You know, what are the rules? So there's a bunch of rules when it comes to e-bikes. And in the city of Toronto, because every municipality has different rules where it comes to whether bicycles can be on the sidewalk or not, City of Toronto says if you're 14 or older, you cannot be on the sidewalk. You must be on the road. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. When I grew up, it used to be based on tire diameter. So if you had a bicycle with tiny tires because you're a kid, it was intended as child's bikes. But then people started making folding bicycles, and you had those diameters, but it was an adult bike. So they changed the rules. Do you see a lot of people on the sidewalk?
Too many, in fact, and especially like the e-assist bikes. They're mostly the food delivery people. They're on the sidewalk and they're flying. And, you know, if you're a vulnerable road user who's, you know, say you're a senior, you already have mobility issues, and you go to turn and you see a e-assist bike flying at you and you don't have the reaction time, you know, it's frustrating. And that's all I can say about it. It's frustrating.
Pedestrians should never be in a position where they have to look out for a cyclist and dive out of the way. That's just not something.
Yeah.
Like whether you are a child, an athlete, or an elderly person, nobody should have to jump out of the way to save their own life. And e-bikes are specifically prohibited for use on sidewalks, especially in Toronto. I don't know of any jurisdiction that would allow them. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And those are motor vehicles. As much as they are considered under law under the Highway Traffic Act for the purposes of what do we write them up as, if they comply with the legislation, they're e-bikes if they go under 32 kilometers an hour, if they are incapable of going beyond 32 kilometers an hour. But they're motor vehicles. It's a motorcycle, essentially, with less weight and a lot of damage. People don't understand or want to acknowledge how much damage a cyclist can cause a pedestrian.
Yep.
Battery or not.
True. Excuse me.
Okay, what do we got here? Are vests mandatory for you guys, or are the uniforms flexible? No, they are absolutely mandatory. You cannot go out without a body armor as a police officer, as a parking enforcement officer. Actually, any uniform position is going to be body armor, even volunteers. Okay.
People are shocked by that. I get a lot of comments in my videos like, "Why are you wearing a vest?" And I don't know. That's how I feel people are asking. Like,
well, I don't know if we've had a lot of parking enforcement officers attacked, but uniform is uniform. We all look the same, even though there's a distinct difference in the stripe color and the color of shirt, in the patch even between a police officer and a parking enforcement officer. You might be targeted. They may be targeted as a police officer, and liability if we didn't give our members vests to protect themselves would be insane. Let's see here. Can you get pulled over for using a phone in a mount in a car? Absolutely, yes. You cannot use your phone in a mount in a car. You have to not use your phone unless you are legally parked, or you are calling an emergency 911 call, or you're looking at the screen for GPS, but you can't set it while you can't input any information. It's only for you set it before you start your drive. Can you get your car seized for tint? We do not seize for tint. You can lose your license plate. You can get your plates seized for excessive tint if it's considered unsafe. At which point that would be a thing. You'd lose your plates and you'd have to get towed. Highway polls. How do you pay? Who pay? Like Toronto Police? Police vehicles, emergency vehicles do not pay highway tolls. So 407 is not something. They don't charge police vehicles, ambulances, or fire trucks.
Is the Q&A working yet?
Q&A is still broken. Is it working for you?
No, because I haven't attempted to go live at all. So
see, TikTok. You got to listen to this. When your Q&A doesn't work, you lose live broadcasters because the flow is definitely not there. Jazz Festival this Saturday. A question for you about parking during the Jazz Festival. Got any details yet?
No, but I could definitely find out, and that could actually be a topic for videos this week. But what's the question? I have a little bit of knowledge for.
No, the question is, have Aaron talk about parking.
Oh, okay. Talk about parking. So I don't know what the parking plan is for down there, but usually they shut down certain streets, and there'll be signs put up for emergency no parking. And if there's cars parked in those streets, during the road closures, then they will be relocated. It will be a friendly tow, though. Your car will be relocated a block or two away from where it was originally parked, and it's just to move it out of the way for these special events. But stay tuned for that. I will try to find more information about Jazz Fest.
And you can get that information at Parking TPS and TPS_bike-cart.
That's right.
And if you don't know who Erin is and why we say bike cart, even though her name is Urquhart, it's because she's a bicycle parking, you tend to be on bicycle. You're an advocate and an avid cyclist, and you've got quite a name for yourself as a bike person.
Oh, thank you. I did just bike into work, so I do it outside of work too.
Okay, we got a question about stunt driving charges. So the deal is that there's a number of ways to activate stunt driving charges. One of them, and the most commonly spoken about, is that of the exceeding the speed limit by 50 kilometers an hour. But back in 2021, in September 12th, as a matter of fact, they changed the rules. And now if you are doing 40 kilometers an hour in a speed area that is under 80 kilometers an hour, so if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour in a 60 zone, then you would qualify for stunt driving. You would lose your vehicle now for 14 days in impound. You'd be responsible for all towing and payments for storage. Additionally, you'd lose your license for 30 days. Now, you can, if you choose to engage in stunt driving activities like, drifting, doing donuts, racing, jackrabbit starts where you see the green light and you hit the gas and turn left in front of the flow of traffic before they get a chance to cross. That's stunt driving. Driving with people in your trunk is stunt driving. There's any intentional removal of wheels from ground, like wheelies. That would be any intentional loss of traction, all those things. So there was a question that came after this question about stunt driving, about my friend got charged for speeding really, 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 really fast. So it depends on what really, really, really fast is. Like if they were doing 200 and a 50, I'd just go straight criminal. I'd charge them with dangerous driving, and in addition to everything else. So it really depends. Everything depends. Scrolling ahead, see what we got here. Okay. How can someone get a permit for stunt driving? You'd need to talk to the city. Because if you look at the Honda Indy that's coming, that's obviously going to be race cars on the road, stunt driving. Actually, the law specifically states that anything Indy related is not stunt driving. It's a planned event and not covered by the law. But racetracks are exempt, and so are go-kart tracks, because they would qualify as motor vehicles too. Any laws in Ontario for mobile homes looking to live in one? I don't know the details. I'm not a mobile home person. They do have slightly different rules about alcohol consumption when they are parked. They're different than regular motor vehicles, but it is a different world. And Sergeant Murray Campbell, who is not here this week, is the best person to talk to about that, because he knows stuff about off-road vehicles and the like. Can be a police officer? What is this? Check out the webpage. People who are asking about becoming a police officer, www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. You should check it out. Lots of info. Can I drive my ATV on the street in Toronto? Absolutely not. They are prohibited. What is this?
Someone says, where can I park near Rogers Center?
I saw that. That's a good question. I have no idea.
Well, there's definitely a couple underground parking lots in and around Rogers Center and CN Tower, Ripley's. I think there's one off of Lower Simcoe, which is just north of the Queen's Quay. So that's the first lot that I can think of if you want to go into a lot. As for street parking, yeah, you gotta really look around there, because there's lots of condos. So my best advice is to try and find a private lot as opposed to street parking.
Private lots.
Little to nil around there.
There was a question that someone wanted to see my warrant card. So that's my warrant card, my badge.
Oh my gosh.
It's an old
Your
picture. Oh my goodness, you don't want to see
Yeah,
my
picture, I look like a totally different person.
It looks like I have earrings in my picture because I was casting a shadow. Yeah, no beard, no nothing. How much is the fine for having your plate flipped up on a motorcycle? Well, right away, it's failing to display plates, so it's $110. If it's something that's being done to avoid detection, there may be additional charges that can be laid. It really depends. But why does anyone do that? I don't get it, because it suggests you're going to do bad stuff. Lane filtering versus lane splitting, can you clarify? Yeah. Lane filtering is when the traffic has come down to a stop and a motorcycle or a cyclist drives between stop traffic to get to the front. That is something that is not permitted, but lane splitting is where you simply go through moving traffic at speed, driving between lanes. And that's incredibly dangerous, especially in Toronto. There are some jurisdictions that allow it at certain speeds, different conditions, but Ontario is not one of them. That could be careless driving. And frankly, why would you want to put your life in the hands of an Ontario driver or any driver for that matter? If I do 190 kilometers an hour, what should do police? You should not do 190 kilometers an hour because you're probably going to get arrested. That's just stupid to drive that speed. You go on a track if you want to go fast. How many donuts do you confiscate a day from Tim Hortons? None, but I appreciate the harassment. It's always fun to have trolls jump in.
I love that though. Oh my gosh.
I've never heard. I've never actually had anyone ask me that particular question. Favorite donut I get on a regular basis, and I will say I do have a favorite donut, and it's a raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme. No offense to Tim Hortons, I love your coffee, but I have one weakness, and I wouldn't say no to a raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme, even on a diet. Like I just, Brandon, when he was still in the office, he brought in a box of donuts on his last day, and I'm like, I'm eating that. It's just gone. It's mine.
Yeah, I'm not a big donut person. I used to be when I was younger, but now it's like, I have to really be craving sugar.
I'm not a big sweets person in general.
Yeah,
I'll eat it on occasion. I do like ice cream, but it's on occasion.
Ooh,
and actually, I went out for Father's Day lunch. I went to Mandarin with my my dad and my kids, and my wife wasn't feeling well, so she stayed home. Actually, the truth is she doesn't like Mandarin. That's the truth. And I had like a couple spoonfuls of what's it called? Banana fudge. It was interesting. Not the greatest, but it was it was a treat. My kid wanted me to have ice cream with them. Okay. What is the speed threshold on speed cameras? Good question. I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm often asked, but the truth is they don't tell us. It's run by the city and not me. But Sebastian agrees with my Krispy Kreme evaluation. I'm glad. We can be friends. Okay. How long does it take for a ticket to be mailed, a red light ticket to be mailed? I have no idea because they're independent of us. Is there a booklet for rules about riding a bicycle on the street? So I would look at the driver handbook. I don't think there's a bicycle handbook. Look at the Ontario Driver's Handbook. It's available for free online. There's also a biking page with resources that's on the City of Toronto website. There's a lot of information.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a cycling page and gives you all the rules and regulations.
Oacp says, I got charged for stunt driving in the past. Can I still apply to policing? So yes, you can. And I'll say that here's the deal. Nothing is a free pass. Like if you did something, you have to answer to it. But let's say you got stopped for stunt driving because you were 16, newly licensed, making bad decisions because you were 16 and newly licensed. And your life since then has changed. You haven't had any speeding tickets. You haven't been charged with anything. You are now a responsible driver. You learned your lesson. Well, that's an understandable experience and way of learning, and things happen. But in terms of if it happened last week, if it happened 5 times over the last 5 years, you're obviously not someone who can be expected to enforce laws that you obviously don't respect. That would be my perspective. That's not the words of the employment unit. That's me. But that would be my perspective. So everything is every situation is evaluated individually. But you definitely speak to an employment officer if you are interested, a recruiting officer if you're interested. What do we got here? Can't break traffic laws. Yeah. Way too much traffic lights in Toronto. All traffic stucks. I think you meant sucks, but you had a bit of a typo. No one likes traffic, but traffic lights aren't the end of the world. They're intended on keeping everybody moving. The fact is we have more people than anybody else. And we've got a lot. If there weren't traffic lights, there'd be utter chaos. But I don't like traffic at all. I mean, I like working at traffic, but I don't like sitting in traffic. What are the laws around electric scooters? Well, in the city of Toronto, they're simply prohibited. You can't use them. Every municipality can opt into the pilot that's currently available in the province of Ontario, but that's it. They can't be used on any street, sidewalk, or park in the city of Toronto. Private property only. What is this? Can you get a ticket? What was the question? It's scrolling too fast here.
Yeah.
Can I come to Canada from the U.S. now? I believe you can. All sorts of, even today they released some changes as to what's permitted. What is it?
Someone was like, there was a car with no front or back plates parked in a bike lane. Who should I have called? That'd be
Ghostbusters.
Who are you gonna call? Yeah, wouldn't that be more of a police matter? Because if we show up as a parking officer and there's no plates, I believe we run the VIN, and then if not, a police officer still has to come and investigate and tow it to an impound.
Because it could be a stolen vehicle.
Exactly.
There's a whole bunch of things we look at. Here's this interesting question. On average, how long could a person break traffic laws before they are ticketed? Well, I think statistically it's probably the same as shoplifting. I think people tend to do things 8 or 9 times before they're caught for the first time. But in truth, with traffic laws, someone could drive for 30 years and somehow magically have avoided detection. If I see something, I don't wait for a second time. I see something, I pull them over, and hopefully they'll never do it again. But I do charge people on the first time I catch them. I don't wait for repeat offenders. Is chameleon tint legal? It's reflective and it's not legal. Not in the front windshield. Nothing on the windshield, but nothing on the left. It cannot be left or right of the driver. I don't know if it would be a problem in the rear windows. I don't think it would be because we don't really worry about those. Can be opaque. So yeah, chameleon not permitted because it's reflective. What do we have here? Oh, Q answered that too. Boom, boom, boom. Do police need their Book 7 for traffic direction? We have officers who actually supervise and enforce the rules surrounding Book 7 for the folks at construction sites, but we are not Book 7 trained. We are traffic direction trained. We, as police officers, we are not the same category, so we can direct traffic anywhere without that Book 7 training. And that's for changing traffic cycles. And I've looked at it because I've had to investigate situations where a road construction was in there and they were apparently violating Book 7. Can you cover turns at a stop sign? Who goes first if there's a vehicle in front of you? Well, the person in front of you goes before you do if they're in front of you. If you mean opposing you and the other side, depends if who got there first. Obviously, is the first person. But here's the deal, and it's my friend Scott Marshall always says, "Who goes right of way isn't something you take; it's something you give." And it's the best advice you could possibly have. It is the way to stay safe. If there's a question as to who go first, let the other person go first. What's 20 seconds? Even if you said 60 seconds, it's better to be safe. I have got to say it's time. We've gone 10 minutes over. It's been a blast. Tracy Ward came in through Facebook saying, actually, I saw the post. She says, I had my sports bike damaged on July 16th. Not sure if someone pushed it over or a car ran into it, but it's damaged enough that I can't ride it. If I don't have vehicle details, do I still report this to a collision center? Yes, you do. File a report. If it was parked in a place that might have video, try and get the video. But absolutely report it. The deal is that if the damage is over $2,000, is it $2,000? Is it still $2,000? I think it is still $2,000. For some reason, I want to say $2,500, but I think it's still $2,000, which could be any. Like you scratch your tank, it could be $2,000. So it's a reportable collision, whether it was vandalism or contact. A police officer can look at it, but report it and talk to your insurance company about it. Well, that's up to you, depending on what the value is. You can choose to get it fixed on your own, or you can choose to go through insurance. But hopefully they can find some evidence if it was parked somewhere that has potential video. But I'm sorry to hear that. I saw pictures that you posted on Facebook, and it's always sad to see a motorcycle any way other than rubber side down. So going back to saying goodbye, it has been a blast, and we'll be back tomorrow promptly at 10 a.m., not 3 minutes late like I was today when I was trying to get stuff working and going. I got a great video that I'm going to put up right after I finish editing the subtitles, or captions, I should say. It is one of the most powerful videos I've seen in a long time, and it's not new. It's about 5 or 6 years old. It was put out by AT&T and their It Can Wait campaign. It's all about distracted driving. If you don't get tears in your eyes, there's something wrong with you. I'm going to say that right now. All right, listen, have a fantastic day. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.